Good evening, Council. I'll now call the Wednesday, September 13th, 2023 regular Council meeting to order. First up on the agenda is under 2.1 is the adoption of this evening's agenda, moved by Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor Mulyk. Are there any additions or deletions? All in favor? It's carried. 3.1, we have the adoption of the minutes of the August 22nd, 2023 regular meeting of Council. Moved by Councillor Pearson, second by Councillor MacLean. Are there any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? It's carried. 3.2, we have the adoption of the minutes of the August 22nd, 2023 public hearing. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor MacLean. Are there any errors or omissions arising from that? All in favor? It's carried. 3.3, we have the adoption of the minutes of the August 30th, 2023 special meeting of Council. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Are there any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? It's carried. Reading file. Is there any anything in the reading file Council would like to bring forward? Councillor Pearson.
Yeah, item 2, regional district. Excuse me. Yeah, just congratulations to Mr. Martin on his retirement after 19 years in the CAO seat with the regional district. So he will be missed.
Oh, absolutely. Did you have any others?
No, that was all for
okay.
And also to add to that, a huge thank you for everything that he did. I know that he's been there for us on numerous occasions. He's always at the end of that phone when you call and say help. So a huge, huge thank you.
We will ensure that that gets presented. And you'll be seeing them, you won't be seeing them next week, but the rest of Council will be.
Yes. Bibb and Tucker.
Any further? I would like to, if I can, bring forward the requisition limit increase for the Fire Department Coordination Service and the presentation slide deck. Unfortunately, due to the rescheduling of Council, the RD was prepared to present last night, but due to UBCM and moving the RD meetings around, they weren't able to present tonight. But within the reading file, you'll see that there is a May 2023 report from the RD, Melanie Perrin, speaking to the increases per 100,000 per 500,000 assessed values. And I'm just wondering, Council, given that we needed to table that from a previous meeting due to some missing information that Council wanted to be forwarded, are you comfortable moving the original motion forward to support the regional district's requisition limit increase, now that you have the numbers in front of you? I do have to read a quite lengthy motion, and I'll look to Council's support. So this is the original language offered at the July 25th, 2023 regular meeting of Council regarding the requisition limits for fire departments. That notification be provided to the Regional District of Fraser Fort George by way of certified resolution as follows, indicating that the municipality consents on behalf of the electors to adoption of Regional District Bylaw number 3310, 2023. Whereas the Regional Board is considering the adoption of Fire Department Coordination Service Bylaw number 1990, Amendment Bylaw number 3310, 2023, and whereas the entire area of the Village of Valemount is participating area for the above service, and whereas the Council of the Municipality believes that it is in the best interest of the electors to consent on their behalf to the above bylaw. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Village of Valemount hereby gives its consent to the adoption of Fire Department Coordination Service Establishment Bylaw number 1990, Amendment Bylaw number 3310, 2023 by the Board of Directors of the Regional District, Fraser Fort George, and that the regional district be so advised. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion on that. Does anybody need me to reread it? Good. Discussion? Councillor Pearson.
Yeah, just a thank you for the further information to back up the original request, so.
Excellent. Yep. That will be forwarded with the advisement. Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. And one more go around for the reading file. On to administrator reports, 8.1, bylaw enforcement summary for August 2023. That'll be received for information. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor MacLean. Any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Village entrance sign request for proposals. I would entertain, if council wishes, to enter a committee of the whole. Is there a mover on that? No. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette at 7:08, entering into a committee of the whole on the signage, entry signage. Let's have some discussion.
So,
We'll start.
Yeah, you just raise a hand and Councillor Blanchette.
So this picture here, are we looking at one of those? So right now we have our Jurassic Park sign, right?
Yeah.
Two columns and then the top.
Yeah.
So is this design here just one of those pieces? It'd be just on this one side?
You're
Or we-
referring to the number one in the
Yes.
top left-hand corner?
Yeah,
I'll refer to staff. It would look to me that it is depicted to have only one pillar.
yeah. Is that right?
I believe it was for both.
Both
So there'd be
pillars.
two of the identical same things, just not the top piece,
Correct.
okay?
Yeah, it does say at the top.
Oh, yeah, there's, sorry,
Standing pylon.
sorry, there is two signage, but the one signage looks to be rotated, is that correct?
Okay, I can't read the small
Okay.
writing, so.
To the councillor's question, your worship, my understanding is that the pillars would be mirrored on either side of the entrance. Our understanding is it is for two similar, not identical, but mirrored pillars to be present.
In the same place as what we've got now?
It would have to be, the proposal suggests using the part of the cement foundations that are currently in place. That recommendation comes in part from the budget that's available. The advice that we've received from proponents during the bidding process would be that if this were to be moved, or if that existing cement had to be taken out of the ground and replaced for a different foundational structure, it could quickly absorb the entire current budget for the project. So
Okay.
all bids that we're seeing at this time suggest using the same foundation.
But we're still gonna have the same problem we have now, that when people come out of the Tim Hortons, they can't see past that one side of the pillar. Like, we're still having the same, we're not fixing the problem we've got. So,
I can speak to that.
okay,
If you look to the various designs in this proposal, for example, number 3, right? It's got a welcome sign out in front. Get rid of it. That increases your sight lines. Take back the right-hand side of the white border a foot. That increases your sight lines. I like the third one, if it was just slightly scaled smaller to increase sight line for traffic. And the reason I like number 3 is it's a pillar. It matches our magnificent mountain ranges. I like the little roof on top. It sort of says, welcome home. And as a resort municipality, it sort of highlights that there's always going to be a roof over your head when you're in the resort municipality of Valemount. And then it also acts as a catchment for rain to continually water the vegetation down below, which will save staff time. And those are my thoughts. Councillor Pearson?
I have the exact same concerns. I mean, we just started a traffic committee to study improving the safety at this intersection, and we have done nothing to make any improvements. In my mind, that flower bed is too high. I mean, regardless of what signage is there, the flower bed restricts your vision, more so when you put flowers in it. The only thing I can see that would mitigate that in the design of number 3 was if the signage didn't start for 2 feet above the planter. That would allow sight line underneath the bottom of that sign to a degree. It's still not perfect, but it's going to improve your sight line if that well.
A double column support, and the whole base is not sitting on the concrete. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, basically, yeah, just truncate, it's the blue wedge, take that bottom section off and reconfigure the welcome message to have like a 2-foot clear space underneath the sign between the top of the concrete and the bottom of the sign.
Sure, we would have to reach back out to the designers to see if that's even possible.
Yeah.
Were you finished?
Well, I hesitate to carry on because I'm a firm believer in the whole gateway image with the arch over the intersection. It's kind of, I probably wouldn't go so far as to call it iconic, but it is very visually captured in a lot of pictures. And I don't think,
I know I've used it before.
yeah, it's my background on Zoom as well, but I don't think the pylons have that same grab versus that visual of the gateway. So that's my 2 cents. I like the gateway.
Leaning towards 5, I'm hearing.
I do lean towards 5, yes.
Okay. Anything further? Councillor Blanchette, back to you.
I like number 3, but I'd like to have one pillar on the other side where the A&W is. I like 3. I like the welcome sign because it's at an angle. I like angles. I think it stands out. It's different. We haven't had it before. But just have the one. Why do we have to have 2? Why can't we just have one but put it on the other side where the A&W is, where we don't have any sightline problems? No traffic problem then. And we still have a welcome sign. It looks nice. That would be my choice.
So a single one on the.
A single number 3.
A single number 3 on the south side of 5 by the
Yep.
Petro-Canada A&W.
Yep.
Okay. We're writing some options down.
Certainly.
Thank you. Councillor Pearson, back to you.
If there isn't support to go with the gateway, I would support that concept as well. It's just a single pylon on the south side, and that clears up that whole, that's one check mark off the traffic committee's itemized list already, so.
Councillors MacLean or Mulyk, did you have any comments?
I kind of like the gateway across the top. I mean, are these currently, like the bottom, the concrete foundation? I can't even remember. Is there a stone-faced flower bed there currently at the base of that right now?
I believe there is.
Okay, so this is what we're saving money by not getting rid of that. That some of that is interfering with the sight lines. Is that what I'm hearing? Is it this concrete thing that's interfering then?
It depending on the height of your vehicle, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You're out into the middle of the road in that 4-way before
Yeah.
you can see past.
Yeah. Because I do like the one with number 5 right across the street. And you see tourists every day climbing on it, posing in front. It's like the goats at the entrance to the park where it's, but safety first.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, Councillor Mulyk, anything further, Councillor MacLean?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mulyk?
Yeah, I totally agree. I do like the gateway, you know, there's just something about that it, to me, is more appealing than just a couple of columns. But I really do think that idea of trying to lift or do something to get that sightline improved is really important.
To that point, I think that would be possible with the gateway concept as well, as to have that 2-foot gap at the bottom of the sign for visibility, I think.
So what part of the sign would we be moving? Where would we be moving the sign? This one?
The brown pillars. And you probably want to get rid of the welcome sign.
Yeah, or lift it
raise it
up,
up.
raise it up.
Raise it up,
Yeah.
oh, I see.
To just have a gap.
Because it's,
So
like
that
the
you can
columns
see.
are not taking up anywhere close to the amount of space that the logs and the additional fascia logs are occupying. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we don't have that log wing out the back.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the structure itself, and can't tell from these drawings, but I'm assuming there would be metal superstructure within that would still support the sign, even if the bottom 2 feet were truncated off and increase sight lines, so.
You're putting in a window, basically.
Basically.
A gap.
Yeah.
Is there any way we could get like a diagram, like if you were coming out on that 4 split, like so you're in your car, and with this design, we would look down to turn, where is this sign going to be? Like, what am I gonna see? Because looking at this, I'm trying to imagine, okay, I'm driving my car and I'm coming out. Where am I looking?
Looking at now.
Because I can't see now.
Because they're using the same concrete structure.
Okay, then how is this, I'm trying to figure out how you're going to move this so I can see without driving into the middle of the road.
Remove the bottom 2 feet of the sign.
Just raise it up on a couple of columns. If it's possible.
If I may, Your Worship.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of things that could certainly be done to help address or look into addressing the concerns. If there is a preferred option between the two bidders, we could certainly engage in a continued conversation and attempt to address sightline and some of the items to be removed. In this case, the materials being proposed do help address some of staff's concern with the existing archway and the accelerated rot that we are seeing on the existing structure. Those that haven't spent some time looking at it quite closely, if you're just driving through each day as a visitor to town, it's not as apparent, but there is significant rot with the current structure. Presumably that started before the caps were put in place to help mitigate some of that. So in this case, it is a aluminum and steel structure largely that's prefabricated to look like more of the natural pieces, or at least there's less natural wood involved in the structure. So that is certainly a plus from staff side in addressing the existing concerns with it. So we could ask for concept where just that steel structure is shown at the bottom as example to make the window effect or that opening. We could certainly ask for that to continue, a new concept to be produced. Of course, anytime we're going back to the proponent to do additional design work, there may be a cost. So the level of revision might lead us into other conversations about budget, but certainly if it's a reduction that seems feasible, that we could look at the removing of a welcome sign or the removing of a post to enhance the sightline, if we like this proponent.
Councillor Pearson?
So to that, reading the notes in the picture, so the cabinet structure, which is going to be fabricated aluminum cabinet, from what I understand, will be split in 2 halves for installation over the existing pole and truss structure. So they are using entirely the existing superstructure that's there. So to take 2 feet off the bottom shouldn't be a major design concern. I mean, give me a quick cut and a steel blade and I can have that off in half an hour.
It'll look like the appearance wise.
It'll look good. I think.
It looked like we chopped it off. I can't
Professionally.
visualize it, right?
Just not Councillor Pearson, that's awesome.
In terms of a visual, if you are looking at any of the designs of the pillars, if you imagine that within it there's a steel substructure, so presumably 2 steel pillars as example. So rather than starting flush to the ground, you'd have a few feet of steel pillar with your window effect, and then there above you'd have that design as proposed continuing. So it would be lifted off the ground. You'd see, I imagine you would see powder coated I-beams as example once they're covered up, or a steel tube as example.
So, looking at this, the left-hand side one, well, both of them would have to be cut and up. There won't be a welcome sign down below? That won't be there?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, so then they'll just be looking at the 2 pillar, the metal parts, and then the structure will start 2 feet up.
That's the
Roughly.
conversation I'm hearing so far. Yeah.
Well, they could move the welcome up to the bottom of where it's cut off. I mean,
Yeah.
this is, it's a large expenditure, but these people are professional and they're artists, I would presume, and that they ought to be able to make it look nice, even if it is,
Cut.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be fresh lines, it won't be cut, it'll just be raised. Let's use that. Yeah. Councillor Pearson?
And they could use the same technique they're using for the art, like for the over-the-road piece. They are powder coating the existing 8x8 steel tubes and covering them with powder coated aluminum in a cedar tone. They could disguise the 2 uprights at the bottom with the same thing to have it as a look like a wood beam rather than a rusty steel pipe at the bottom.
Powder coated rusty steel pipe.
So certainly we can ask what's feasible from the proponent, if they could make those amendments, absolutely.
So I'm hearing a recommendation from the committee of the whole that council take this back to staff with a preference to number 5. Working with the proponent to increase sight lines by raising the structure to increase visibility. Am I hearing that? And then have the proponent come back with a design?
That's reasonable.
I got a mover on that recommendation. Moved by Councillor MacLean, second by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion on the recommendation.
I still like 3.
A few comments from staff already, your worship.
On the motion or on the recommendation?
Discussion on the recommendation.
Let's go on the recommendation.
Certainly feasible. I just would highlight the couple of concerns that staff do have with an overarching structure. Some of the wear and tear is certainly addressed by the alternate material, but there would be just that marginal additional concern with any structure that's over top of a public roadway.
Yep.
Certainly it exists here currently, and we've had no issues, as it does to others' points in numerous communities around the province, so nothing that can't be mitigated, but it is a tad of additional risk beyond something that doesn't go over the roadway. And the only other one was just there are similar designs in places like McBride or Pemberton. However, again, I'm sure we could find the iceberg single pillar style in as many communities, so those are just 2 things from staff's comments that I'd have to reiterate here for those at home or otherwise.
Yep, awesome. Thank you very much for that. Any further discussion? Just on the recommendation. All in favor? It's carried. I'll now ask for adjournment of the committee of the whole. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor Pearson. All in favor? It's carried. Back to the regular meeting with a motion, a recommendation coming out of the committee of the whole to form a motion to direct staff to work with the proponent on option number 5 while increasing sight lines and visibility from a roadway driver standpoint. Does that sound fair? Fair and accurate? Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? It's carried. 8.3, the 2024 tax rate review with a recommendation that council approve a 5.5% tax increase for the 2024 budget. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion.
Time is nigh.
May not be enough, but we'll start at 5.5.
Well, staff always finds a way, and I mean, it's not like Vancouver where they had, what, 11%? You know, so, and we know that things are going up, and as all, for everything.
Well, and things identified in our asset management plan.
Exactly. But kudos to staff, because they always, like I said, they always find a way, and they work with what we have, and they're fabulous, so.
Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Bylaws and policies, 9.1, amendments to the mobile home park regulations with a couple recommendations. So first one, Village of Valemount Manufactured Home Park Bylaw Regulations, bylaw number 880, 2023, Manufactured Home Park Regulations bylaw number 880, 2023 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Discussion on final. All in favor? It's carried. And two, that the Village of Valemount zoning bylaw number 847, 2021, amendment bylaw number 881, 2023 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Discussion on final. All in favor? It's carried. 9.2 for the officer designation and delegation of authority bylaw number 882, 2023. That it be given third reading as amended. Moved by Councillor MacLean, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Discussion on third. All in favor? It's carried. 9.3, the Valemount permissive tax exemption bylaw number 883, 2023. That'll be given first, second, and third. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion. All in favor? It's carried. 9.4, the fees and charges amendment bylaw number 885, 2023, that it be given, Village of Valemount fees and charges bylaw number 699, 2023, amendment bylaw number 885, 2023, that it be given first, second, and third. Moved by Councillor MacLean, seconded by Councillor Mulyk. Discussion. All in favor? It's carried. 9.5, traffic regulation amendment bylaw number 886. Here that the Village of Valemount traffic regulation bylaw number 202, 1982, amendment bylaw number 886, 2023, that it be given first, second, and third. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Discussion. All in favor? It's carried. And finally, on bylaws 9.6, electronic meeting attendance policy number 92, 2023, that it be approved. Moved by Councillor Mulyk, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Discussion on final. It's carried. All in favor, sorry. It's carried. I don't recognize any new business tonight. Is there a notice of motion that council would like to bring forward? Not at this time. Moving on to council reports. Maybe? Yep. Councillor MacLean.
I only had,
Round 20 of the CRT.
yeah, we did have a meeting of the local government committee on September 11th, but that was it, other than the other two meetings with the rest of council, where one of them were, of course, where we met with Shirley Bond to touch bases about the upcoming UBCM meetings, and the special meeting of council on August the 30th. That was it.
Thank you. Let's go kitty corner. Councillor Mulyk.
August 29th, the community barbecue, attended that. August 30th was special meeting. September 1st, we had the walkthrough of the daycare facility as it's completed, and what a beautiful building that is. I was totally impressed with that, and just the excitement of the staff getting ready to open it. And on September 11th, I attended NDIT meeting, and that would be it for me.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Across the room, Councillor Pearson.
Okay, August 29th, as well, attended a meeting with MLA Shirley Bond and her staff, talking about a state of the union and where we're at and where things are going. That afternoon, the community forest barbecue, very well attended. You throw a free burger out there and you get a pretty good lineup, so it was nice to see. August 30th, the special council meeting. September 1st as well, the tour of the RVCS daycare. I echo Councillor Mulyk's opinion. It was kind of cool to see it after having seen an open structure and then see it within a finished state. It was pretty nice to see. It's going to be well used. September 6th, had our first meeting of the Select Committee of Council for Traffic. So the first meeting was basically introductions, who you were and why you were there, the scope in terms of reference of the committee, and then we opened it up to a fairly robust discussion of some ideas and options for what can be done around the Fifth Avenue, Caris Drive, and that whole corridor. So looking forward to see where things go with that. Also September 6th, meeting with the Regional Connectivity Committee via Zoom. That meeting actually preceded the formal announcement the next day of funding for a major fiber project, which the mayor can probably speak to a little more. September 11th, the Community Forest regular meeting. Lots to talk about. The one thing, and there will be public announcement coming soon, but Community Forest donated a dock for Cranberry Lake that is in place, and beautiful structure. I think it's going to see a ton of use, and the plan will be for it to be pulled out for the winter and pushed back in the spring again. So, but it's a beautiful structure, so we'll be seeing some press releases and news on that shortly. And September 12th, so yesterday, wearing my Operation Lifesaver hat, I did presentations for rail safety at Valemount Elementary School. I did a K1 class, grade 1 and 2, and a 2-3 split. Did two safety talks with them. I'll be doing McBride tomorrow afternoon. And just a reminder that next week is Rail Safety Week across North America, so emphasizing rail safety, and you may see a little bit more of that on my social media posts, and that was my week.
Awesome.
Thank you.
To that, the Operation Lifesaver as well as CN will be in attendance. I believe Lifesaver will be in attendance at the trade show at UBCM.
I think so.
And certainly CN at booth 501. We'll be going to have a chat with them. August 23rd, had a Resort Community Collaborative Mayor's meeting. August 23rd, followed up with the VARTA board meeting. August 25th, had an initial meeting with Troy Clifford, president of the Ambulance Paramedics British Columbia, regarding rural paramedics supporting rural emergency departments prototype. Joined you all here for a really cool meeting with MLA Shirley Bond, and an even cooler community barbecue hosted by the Valemount Community Forest. Special meeting at council on the 30th. on August 31st, Resort Community Collaborative Mayor's Meeting around flat sheets. Flat sheet is taking all the numbers that tourism brings in and putting it into 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 colorful highlights of what the resort municipalities do for the tourism dollars in this province. It is impressive. Had a daycare tour. Really, I didn't see the open concept that you folks saw before, but seeing the finished product, the play areas, the education structures, super cool. Yes, not quite. September the 6th, had a regional connectivity committee meeting, and followed by a Columbia Basin Trust Investments Committee meeting, and then the shoe dropping on the floor and the funding announcement for the Universal Broadband Fund, for which unfortunately Valemount will not be included in that $82 million funding investment by the federal government, Columbia Basin Trust, and the provincial government, as we were deemed ineligible for funding. Our internet is good here. That's the crux of the whole thing. I had on the 12th, I had a provincial situational briefing with Ministers Kang and Ma, and then later yesterday, I had a sit down with the newest asset at the Rocky Mountain Goat, Spencer Hall, who's joined us here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Hall, along with Mr. Depenau. So getting to know our latest and greatest. I had a Columbia Basin Broadband Corporation meeting yesterday as well. And then this morning, I had a really cool invite from the BC Timber Sales Prince George Business Area Management and Planning staff. They're having their annual planning session here in Valemount, both in room and doing field trips. So I was able to really show some of the cool things we're doing here in Valemount. And then had a agricultural land use committee meeting with the RDFFG. And then tomorrow, hopefully if we can find some time with our community relations of the North from the Columbia Basin Trust, Angie Elsmore, will be of benefit. And that concludes my report. Motion to receive. Oh, you know,
Yeah.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
sure,
That didn't want to be last for a change.
sure.
Why not?
Let's
Yeah, on the 30th I joined you, but on the 3rd I got to tour a third-year medical student around. Really nice young fellow from Vancouver, loves winter, loves the snow. I sold Valemount as hard as I dare, you know. And the most interesting question he asked me, he asked a whole bunch, but he asked me, he said, what's it like when it's busy downtown? Like, where's your hub and stuff?
This was a Sunday.
Yes, this was a Sunday. This was a Sunday morning. You know, I'm still trying to wake up. And just an interesting fellow. And the questions he asked, and it's like, oh, well, I hadn't thought, you know, like, I just take everything for granted. I live here, and so, you know, you tootle around. But, yeah, so and I had never been up to the very, very top of the bike park. So going up, we had the whole road to ourselves, and coming down, it was like, phew, phew, phew. It's beautiful up there. Just beautiful. You know, we got up, looked around, you know, he took some pictures and stuff, and we both decided there was no way in heck we were going off that ramp thing with nothing underneath it. I'm just like, you know, but it was just a really interesting several hours that we tootled around, biked, and talked about all sorts of stuff. And he's young and he's energetic and he wants to live in a small community. He wants to be a GP. Perfect candidate for here.
Check boxes.
Yes, yes, so we'll see, fingers crossed.
Well, I'm glad we were able to
Yeah.
get that report out of you.
Yeah, there you go.
Anything further?
No, that's it, it's been light.
Motion to receive, moved by Councillor MacLean, seconded by Councillor Blanchette because she was last.
Yeah,
Apologies.
no worries.
Discussion on the reports. All in favor? It's carried. We do have time for public comment this evening under 13.1 on items considered by council as part of the approved agenda. Are there any public comments this evening? Second time? Then I would ask council to give notice under 14.1 to proceed in camera for consideration of one item per section 91A of the community charter to discuss matters related to personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, agent of the municipality, or another position appointed by the municipality. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, second by Councillor MacLean. All in favor? It's carried. And that concludes the open session of this council meeting.